you check the children.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And Jaime Fuego
Here to do another patron request. This was a recent poll request. We do a poll on our Patreon every single month where you guys, any patron can put down a suggestion for the poll that month, and then all of you patrons can vote on it. But the winner for this month was 2009's space horror movie Pandorum.
I miss space horror. They don't make enough of it anymore,
I
in my
agree.
estimation, man.
I agree, especially ones that they go all in on like this one. So we are going to be discussing this. Thank you to all of our patrons for voting on this for the poll, but I'm going to start with my overall thoughts. I've seen this twice now, once for this review and once when it originally came out. I remembered liking it when it originally came out, but I didn't remember much about it. So upon rewatch, I realized that it's just the descent in space. That's basically what
ways.
it came off as for me, and I enjoyed it for that. I thought it was a good thrill ride. It had a good twist, and I just enjoyed Pandorum. I thought it was a good space horror movie.
Yeah, this is also my second viewing, so I saw it in theaters,
Oh,
and
wow.
I bought it, and then it's just sat on my DVD shelf.
This is the first time you cracked your DVD?
It is, yeah.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Because mainly, I was a little underwhelmed by this. You know, on initial viewing, when I saw it in theaters, I think I was expecting something much more creature crazy. You know, maybe something a little more Pitch Black, maybe something a little more Aliens. You know, those franchises that I love so much as far as space horror goes. This was more like Life Force for me, as far as where I just had expectations, and it didn't do exactly what I wanted it to. But as far as a rewatch and the fact that we don't really get stuff like this as much anymore, I was much more appreciative of it. And Dennis Quaid's performance, a young Ben Forster, God, I'm trying to remember the name of the, like, kind of kooky blonde-haired dude who went on to do a few westerns where he was playing this, like, just very high-octane kind of crazy character. He's significantly more subdued in this. I also forgot that there is a brief cameo from none other than Norman Reedus in this, man, for like one scene, you know, without spoiling what happens to him. But yeah, the look of this film, we don't see this sort of mid-budget sci-fi stuff anymore, aside from maybe what Neil Blomkamp was trying to do at one particular point, and now he can't find his money. But the look of this film, the vibe of it, in the story, it's always good to approach something with a fresh set of eyes and less expectation, because I was like, I don't remember liking Pandorum that much, and upon a rewatch, I was like, this is solid stuff. This is solid sci-fi storytelling with some horror leanings. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, again, we both enjoyed it upon a rewatch. Fuego, I tackled the story in the last review we just recorded. Why don't you go ahead and take the story on this one?
Yeah, so you've got the old trope of waking up from cryo sleep and trying to remember, you know, your mission, where you're going, what happened before leading up to it, and so on and so forth. And yeah, you've got Ben's character and Quaid's character, and they're trying to see, first and foremost, where everybody else who was supposed to be cryogenically sleeping went, and then, you know, just remembering aspects of the mission. Can they actually get to Pandorum, which is essentially this new planet where, you know, humanity is hoping to, like, set up a new colony to save the remnants of their race. And they start to encounter not just other people who have been living on this facility significantly longer than them, but also what has happened to some, and it plays with time in the fact that you're like, how actually long were we out for? And that's the biggest thing, and that's what, without spoiling stuff, tends to reveal, you know, but just this significant amount that's gone down and everything. But there is also a mysterious other younger person who is having this interaction with Dennis Quaid, and you're trying to figure out the nature of him. And Pandorum is actually this sort of, when you've been in that sort of space situation for too long, you start to get crazy and a little bit hyper, and yeah, so it's really trying to figure out why we have all of these kind of mutated monsters on there, where they came from, why they're there, and working together with some of the others, including this woman, and then there's this older character. There's some distrust. There is a little bit of, like, turning of the tables and betrayal without saying who does what. So yeah, I mean, I thought really the way the characters were written and all of their interactions with each other lent to some of the most compelling stuff, because it's not as action centric as I think I wanted it to be, and it's not as like crazed kill filled. And I think that was some of my criticisms when I saw it when I was significantly younger, 12 years ago. But I was more appreciative of the pathos and the interaction and just some of the essence of the mystery, because I did not remember the Quaid reveal without getting into it. I did not remember that at all, and I thought that was really cool. So how about you, man?
Yeah, I enjoyed the way the story unfolded. Again, it was one of those... I mean, we get a lot of movies that start with people waking up in cryogenic pods, but this was the first one that was like, no, I mean, it's disorienting because you don't know, you have to figure out where you are at first, and you're waking up after a number of years sometimes, and stuff like that. So I thought it was a good setup, trying to figure out what's going on with the crew, trying to figure out, what's going on with the ship, where they're actually headed, because everything's so foggy. And then it turns out that there are things running around that are trying to kill you as well. Like, I like that setup, I like that execution, I like that story. It's good old-fashioned sci-fi horror that I think they did a really great job with.
Yeah, and you said The Descent. I got some major, I think it was Neil Marshall Doomsday vibes from this actually too, with some of just the look of these. Now, granted, those were more humanoid than.
See, I only saw those once. Yeah, well, I mean, The Descent, the creatures were humanoid too.
True. Yeah.
So like these were humanoid creatures, but they also were very reminiscent of the orcs from the Lord of the Rings movies.
That too, and since this came significantly after those Peter Jackson films, I mean, maybe you can see where they derived some inspiration, but. With such a small cast, I just really, and we'll get into it more in the look of it and everything, but I felt like they could do more as far as putting their money towards set design and just making the film look really, really cool.
Agreed. I mean, so since you brought it up, let's talk about the set design. I mean, it's a ship, and it's got some vast corridors, it's got some narrow passageways that are tube filled and stuff like that are very claustrophobic. Like, I liked the design of this film. I thought all of that was really cool, both the sets and the production overall with the creatures and stuff like that, which we'll get into in effects. But yeah, this was a very successfully designed film from a production standpoint.
Indeed, and I love these, just cold of space craziness and just how, I don't know, just dark and just grimy and stuff everything feels after having been on the length of this mission that they're on. And yeah, I mean, whether it was the bridge and even the stuff with, I mean, this is over a decade old now, but some of the stuff like Prometheus, like this, that was coming out around the same time, I felt like it was great practical design, but also with a nice bit of augmentarian, and like look on all of the different navigational things that they have. And so yeah, man, it's a terrific looking film, and it makes me wish that they had plans to make this into a franchise, and it bombed at the box office, and so that just didn't end up happening.
Now, the acting I thought was good too. I mean, again, it's a sci-fi action horror movie, so it's not going to have the deepest of scenes, but everyone acquitted themselves good. There was no one that pulled me out of the movie at all. Some people had a lot more to do than others, case in point Norman Reedus, but I thought it was still a really fun movie, and the acting, everyone acquitted themselves great for it.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Ben Foster, I believe his name is, as I was saying earlier, just playing such a subdued character in comparison, and then Quaid with his arc and trying to and as he starts to remember what's been going on and so on. I thought that was cool. And even our B-grade Mila Jovovich type character, the ass kicker chick, she's good, and I also like the older weird guy who's been there for ages. And also our was he Vietnamese or was he Thai? Like our ass kicking Asian dude.
Yeah,
he is great in this
I swear
movie.
That was Tony Jaa. I don't know who it was, but it struck me very much like Tony Jaa. I don't know. We're filming on my phone, so I can't check.
Yeah, there's a lot of people speaking Vietnamese in this movie at a couple different points, which I found interestingly fascinating. And also, I mean, these are humans in like paint and some prosthetics and stuff that are playing our kind of mutated contingent on this ship, and especially the interaction with the little one, the little child, remembering what happens with that other character. That's a killer scene, man. No pun intended. Yeah, so I was much more just appreciative and forgiving of the fact that I didn't have full-on creatures, which is what I kind of was banking hope upon the initial viewing. So.
And then getting into the effects of it all. I mean, all the creatures, there's tons of makeup effects going on for each of the creatures. Again, they were more orc-like from the Lord of the Rings movies than anything else.
Or something out of like a death metal video or something with like the black, like wavy paint and stuff.
And they all had weird like armor and stuff like that. That was,
and that's where I made the doomsday connotation is because that was like a post-apocalyptic, like kind of nuclear fallout with weird like armor and stuff.
But they still looked cool, and I don't remember.
Kills too.
Yeah, I don't remember like a ton of gore, but.
No. There's not an immense amount.
No, but it was still good. I mean, it was still good as far as horror movies go for the most part in sci-fi space. For whatever reason, space horror movies never really lean into the gore, and I think that's why the elusive director's cut of Event Horizon is so sought after, because that's the thing that leaned into the gore that we never really got to see.
Yeah, and most people didn't even see it because of the fact that a lot of those scenes from his film ended up on the cutting room floor and stuff. But
and they burn in a fire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
That's why no one can restore that movie, because they all burn in a fire. And
there's a scene in the third act where you see all of them. It's almost like a hibernation, sleeping on each other sort of bit. That is very, very tense. That is a very coolly.
We had a revisit of that
scene.
Type of scene in Army of the Dead recently.
Yeah, that as well. So I don't know, man. I sound design and score and stuff like that. I mean, it's nothing that stood out to me, at least as far as like music or anything goes.
Done well enough, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Pandorum is worth your time. If you haven't given it a view at all or recently, give it a rewatch or a watch for the first time, because it's not one that you're going to be disappointed with. It's a fun thrill ride. It's not the deepest of movies, but it's got good turns and twists, and it's got good acting and good effects. So,
and I like the ending too. I like the ending a lot to this movie. Yeah, it's satisfying.
For sure. So, thank you very much to all of you guys for requesting this via the poll.
Yeah.
The current poll is up as we record this, or no, it's not. It's people are still putting in their choices for this month's poll. Going to be putting it up in the next few days as we record this. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel via Patreon. We greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this review, feel free to click the like button. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.